Hi, my name's David Beecroft. I'd like to talk to you today about getting a relaxed sound, a consistent sound on the saxophone, and I think about dispelling some myths about embouchure and also helping you play much more loose, a way of practicing or warming up that makes your sound very free, sort of resets the embouchure, and keeps you from going into bad habits of being too tight with the lips or with the teeth. This is a way of playing that keeps the throat relaxed. As I say, it kind of resets everything every time you do this warm-up. Okay, basically, for me, this was kind of counterintuitive, this whole approach, but it came out of desperation. It's my interpretation of some things I've seen on YouTube with Joe Allard, an unbelievably fantastic saxophone teacher. And I'd like to show it to you right now, this idea. Basically, it boils down to starting off without a saxophone, just taking the neck, making sure, of course, your reed is wet. What's important here is to play without an embouchure at the beginning. So I'll show you what I mean by that. First of all, just to hold the neck in a way that you don't open the octave key. And then what we're going to do is place the mouthpiece in the mouth so it rests on the lip, which is also there, of course, folded over the bottom teeth, or the bottom lip is folded over the bottom teeth. So all of the weight sits on the lip, which sits on the teeth. There is nothing going on with my lips. So, and what I'm doing is I'm feeling the movement, opening and closing the jaw, feeling that on the bottom lip. Okay, now I want you to try that. The next step is to push down very gently to make a seal with the lips without making an embouchure. That means no pressure with the lips. It also means that the bottom jaw is floating. You're not clamping the mouthpiece against your upper teeth. That actually your upper teeth are free from the mouthpiece at this point. So blow air, just lightly, not a lot, and push gently to feel the pressure of your teeth on your bottom lip, not a lot. And what we'll do is we'll just add pressure so that we get a sound. And at this point, we can experiment with how far in or out we put the mouthpiece. There is an optimum or optimal position you can find so that the sound is the freest and biggest. Okay, now what you're doing is you're feeling the pressure from your finger through your lip, through the mouthpiece, through your lip onto your teeth. And it also is, there's a relationship between the movement of your jaw, you can feel it, they're connected. The upper teeth right now are not touching the mouthpiece. That comes later. So you're resisting the downward force of your finger with an upward force of your jaw. Okay, the lower jaw. Okay. Doing this exercise perhaps 10 times, I won't do it 10 times now, but simply finding this middle point, lip is bent over the teeth. Okay, and once we master that, what I think is important is that we're really making sure that we're not using any force with the lips. What we can do to ensure that is to let the lips balloon. Now, once again, this is all very counterintuitive. It actually goes against everything I was taught. But there's a reason for this, okay? We're going to let air collect in the front like that, so that we know for sure that there's no engagement of the muscles here or here. So the upper lip muscles are relaxed and also down on the sides. Very important. Okay, we want to practice that enough that it's very easy to do, and that we can really feel that we're relaxed here. Now, the next thing you can do, it's probably a step even done on another day, is to play, start the tone the same way, and then reduce the space between the top of the mouthpiece and your teeth so that they connect very lightly. The only reason we would connect there is to add a little bit of stability to the connection between saxophone and you. So what I've done is open and closed my jaw so that the space disappears and my teeth connect with the mouthpiece. That's the last thing we need to do. Okay, now, with all that said and done, and you've practiced this now 100 times, we can add a saxophone to the mix. Now, interestingly enough, we have of course we have our thumb rest, and it has a hook in it. But I think with this way of playing, I don't want to lift the saxophone with my thumb. I want it to be able to swing around this center here so that I can control, by pushing down lightly, the amount of pressure here. I'll start with the B natural. And I'll make sure I bring the saxophone to me. Okay. Once again, the same feeling. The lip is folded over. I feel a little pressure. Okay, that's playing without any contact with the upper teeth on the mouthpiece, creating a little bit of pressure between the jaw And by slightly pushing down here, and then once I'm comfortable doing that, I can bring the upper teeth down onto the mouthpiece. So I did it several times, opening and closing the jaw, which actually means that the head has to move because the jaw is fixed to the relationship between saxophone and position of thumb and so on. And at this point I can still put air here behind the upper lip. I'm still very relaxed here. So then I can choose to do that or not. But the idea is that I can feel that the embouchure is not tight. I can then find the optimal position of the mouthpiece for the tone I'm playing. It might have to vary a little bit if you play down low or up high. Mouthpiece might have to come in and out, but very little. But it's free, okay? It's free. I'm free to find the right position and feeling. And so at this point, nothing here, no strength. The only sound is coming from the pressure I'm making of the bottom teeth through the lip to the reed. Okay, so let's look again at this, a recapitulation of the whole exercise. Starting with just the neck, making sure we don't open the octave mechanism as we do this. Placing it on a lip that's folded over the bottom teeth, lightly. First, just blowing air, making sure that you're not creating a saxophone embouchure that you're used to, but everything is relaxed. So this is as if we're not going to play. The upper teeth are not touching the mouthpiece at this point. I can actually blow air into my cheeks and so on, behind my teeth, like this. Now what I'm going to do is push down with my finger. To feel the pressure against my lower jaw. Okay, so the only thing happening now is that the pressure is creating the tone. I can adjust the mouthpiece in or out in order to find the sweet spot or the area where there's the most amount of sound. When it's too little, when it's in the right spot, the sound really pops. It starts very abruptly, and when too much, it starts to sound like a duck call. Okay, when we're comfortable doing that, we'll figure out or see how we can bring our teeth together so that the top teeth touch the mouthpiece. All right, so starting the tone, bringing the teeth down lightly so that they take up the pressure that the finger was adding and no more. Okay, this way we find exactly what we need to get the biggest sound possible without using any kind of activation or very, very little musculature or muscle activation here, upper lip or the sides, and so that the embouchure is as relaxed as possible. Okay, when we're comfortable doing that, the next step is, of course, to put your horn together. Start with a B natural, that's a good note. Bring the horn to you. Always make sure it comes to you. And we'll use the saxophone like this with the thumb. That means we can push a little bit down, and that will bring a tiny bit of pressure to the lip, through the lip to the teeth. So the pressure is coming from a little bit pushing down with the thumb and a little bit counteracting that with the lower jaw. Okay, so it's like you're pushing a little bit out with the thumb, but very lightly, and counteracting this pressure with the lower jaw. Okay, now when we're comfortable doing that, it's quite an easy thing to make a nice sound on the horn. And the tone tends to be very liquid. The low notes are very free, and we can also tune the notes very easily because we can feel the vibration. We can feel vibration here because we're not dampening the sound with too much lip pressure. And so by moving the mouthpiece in and out a little tiny bit, changing the vowel sound, you can make a very big difference to the sound, the harmonics that are coming out of the sound. And you can control the sound, the intonation, because nothing is very fixed. You can easily tune sharper, flatter, as your ears dictate. And so on. Okay, that's what I think about sound.